Officials say fire crews made significant progress against a wildfire that's been burning for nearly a week in Southern California coastal mountains. More than 1,600 firefighters battling the blaze in the mountains west of Santa Barbara were able to stop its forward growth. Federal officials said that blaze was 78% contained as of yesterday. Dow futures pointing lower this morning, down 108 points. More details at townhall.com.
Tell me why.
Hey, there's something you forgot to do. It sure is hot. Are you sweating like a dog? Wait, what? Dogs don't sweat. Oh no, you forgot to get your window tinted. Whether it's the kitchen window that sits in the sun for the hottest part of the day, or you just got new wheels, call Sharp Window Tinting in Burleson. 817-615-9379, or look them up on the web, sharpwindowtint.com.
Hey, Jill, congratulations on your son getting into the college of his dreams and with a full scholarship, too. Yes, we are so proud of him. You know, I have to be honest. I'm a bit worried about our daughter getting into college. It's so competitive out there, and I feel overwhelmed with where to start. I completely understand. Listen, I felt the same way, and then I met Dr. Gina of Education Prep Centers. She put a plan in place that helped our son stand out in the admissions process and that gave us a peace of mind for how to create a financial roadmap for his future. Wow, that's great. Sounds like I need to give her a call. Yes, she definitely helped our son find the perfect college, meet all his deadlines, and help us feel less anxious about the whole process. You need to reach out to her. Just check out educationprepcenters.com and set up a complimentary assessment with Dr. Gina. You'll be so glad you did. Education Prep Centers, college admissions made easy.
Fast Track Student Loans can get your student loans out of default, stop any wage garnishments, stop collection calls, and stop seizure of your tax refund. Give yourself a break. Stop the stress and get your student loan payments down to as little as $25 a month based on what you can afford to pay. 800-709-4395, 800-709-4395, 800-709-4395, 800-709-4395.
You're listening to JoCo Community Radio.
You look like you.
Texas pride, Texas grown, from the dirt to our home, no matter the weather. We do it together.
We do it together on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays.
Yes.
Good morning. This is JoCo Vibes with Tiffany, Carlin, Hurd. Sometimes I feel like I need to just say my whole name because some people like to say Tiffany Carlin, some people like to say Tiffany Hurd, and then they like to use my name as a cuss word. So that's what happens when you're having to go back through and read crazy shit written about you on social media, and you're like, oh, every which way my name was said and all this stuff I'm reading right now, like, it's a cuss word.
It's a four-letter word.
Yeah, it is.
That's okay.
But good morning. I'm Tiffany Carlin with Nona Reed,
Or as you call me, Nona Collins Reed.
Nona Collins Reed. And it is a beautiful day here.
Oh, it's so pretty
in Johnson County, Texas. Specifically, we are JoCo Community Radio. We are the voice of Johnson County, Texas.
Yes.
We just happen to be located in Burleson. So I just want to specify that because we serve. Well, I mean, really, you can tune in and listen to us all across the world.
You don't have to be in Johnson County.
Right.
We have an Australian that listens to us.
Right. I think we have a few, actually.
Yes. Well, I know that one that gets very...
Jeff Brewer.
Yes.
Good morning, Jeff, if you're
morning,
tuning
Jeff.
in. And so, I mean, it's for the whole county. It's bringing a much larger community together so that we can help and serve each other. And
we always try to keep that in mind when we're looking at stuff. And
yeah, I mean, really do. It's Wellness Wednesday. We were not live yesterday. Nona had to take care of a pussy cat.
a real life pussy.
A booty cat.
Yeah. My grandmother's cat, and since she's passed away, my aunt had made a promise to her, I will take care of her, and she needs some help. My aunt can't do it all. She's a pretty large cat, first of all. She's gained a lot of weight, but she's eating better. Like Haley and I went over there this morning and fed her and gave her pills, because right now we're having to syringe feed her because she wasn't eating, and she hadn't eaten since last Friday.
Is she taking the syringe food okay?
She is now. She wasn't yesterday.
She sounds very ornery.
So, oh yeah, she's very ornery.
So
She's a Collins all the way around. Yeah, she's a granny and me mixed together.
I don't know about that. You are not stubborn.
Well,
I mean, let's go. Let's look at your
be.
boy. Your boy
Yeah.
is definitely stubborn.
Oh,
your
yeah.
daughter is really
Nah, she's not.
She's
more
not.
of a reed. Mhm.
She's yeah.
But
okay.
my dad is very stubborn, and Granny could be too. I mean, Granny wasn't always. It is definitely on the Collins side. It's more of my granddad and them. But yeah, I mean, but it's so funny because you can see characteristics of,
It's funny. So Dr. Joe saw Mackenzie the other day, saw her last week, and he said the same thing to her. He goes, "Look," and I love Dr. Joe Etter. If you do not know Dr. Joe Etter here in Burleson, one, I would be shocked that you don't know him. Because first of all, he's really cute, and I like to embarrass him with that. So, no, he's cute and very, very happily a long time married with beautiful, wonderful daughters, and he's just a wonderful person. But he's so good. He's so good with our kids, even with the teenagers. They really seem to listen to him. But he said to her, "Darling," he likes to say it. "Darling," he's talking to Mackenzie. And mom's sitting over in the chair, and Mackenzie's laying on the, up on the examination bed. And he goes, "You're super smart and intelligent and extremely strong-headed like your mother." And I was like, that was a polite way of putting it. And I never really looked at myself as being stubborn, but I mean, I have come to see that I can be pretty stubborn when it comes to, I don't know, anger, maybe, or not anger, but disappointment more. Like if I get disappointed in something, with my husband, I'll get really stubborn about, and you know that.
Yeah.
Because you've texted me. So, but I mean, we all have to learn how to be more flexible.
Right.
And I mean, and I am, I mean, it would just, we all have our moments of stubbornness, I think. Don't you think?
Oh, yes.
I mean,
yeah, we really do.
Let's go back to looking at they call them the terrible twos, but really it's the threes, fours,
Right.
5, 6,
Yeah.
but it's that stomp your foot. No, I'm not going to do it.
Mhm.
I can do it, but I'm not going to do it. I can count. Yeah, I can count to 10. Oh, you want me to do it in front of all these people?
Nope.
No. So, I mean, it doesn't necessarily go away over time. We all have our moments of it.
We still have our terrible threes and twos.
Yeah.
2 threes.
Yes.
I know ours is
Unfortunately.
going to turn 3, our grandbaby, and she's still stubborn.
Well,
But she's adorable.
she is adorable. She'll still give me that look like, I don't know you. Like, how do you not know me by now?
I know. But you know what? Ryder, it's so funny because Justin and Landy's personalities, since of course they're older, they're, more prominent, and kind of like Justin reminds me of myself when I was younger, a very quiet kid. But then once he got older, he's very vocal. He's not scared to talk out loud.
We're talking about Justin?
Yeah, the
Okay.
oldest, the 30-year-old.
But he is still very chill and quiet.
Yes, but he is still chill and quiet, which that's not me. But
No, that's not you. And that's
well, it's probably Aaron. And for those who don't know, he is my bonus boy. I'm the bonus mom. But Aaron is probably more the chilled
She's
out.
chill.
Jessie is not.
No.
So,
but a gentle giant.
yes. But yeah, no,
And
sometimes.
I was going to say it varies on the
Some of us
situation.
have seen his gentle, not giant.
Well, haven't we all seen
or
the
his
gentle?
giant, not gentle. But yeah, it's so funny because like their personalities, Ryder would never, he was a big not hugger. And I don't know if it's because his grandfather had passed away when he was young and that he thought when hugging somebody, it would mean you wouldn't see them again. So
Oh,
for the longest time, we had the hardest time. Like he wouldn't tell people bye. He hated giving kisses. He's gotten better. Sometimes he goes through that little stubbornness of, I still, and he's 10, he still doesn't want to give the hug and kiss goodbye, even to his grandparents.
yeah, that's
But then
interesting.
Lakeland, nope,
She will.
she loves giving us hugs.
And she's a cutie pie.
Yeah.
She's a snuggler.
She was cracking us up last Saturday night. We went out to eat. We were gonna go venture to Six Flags, but that was a joke. So we went to dinner, and so after the kids had eaten, she got up and there was live band playing. So she's on the stairs with her little cousin who is like a couple months younger, maybe 6, and 6 months older, younger, I mean. And so they're both, 2.5, 3 years old, and she's just sitting there just dancing away.
She's like,
And then
I don't care.
I have video of her and Jesse sitting beside each other. They're like, "Ah," and she's like, "Ah," and then she starts cracking up.
That's got to be the
She
best
was
picture
just-
ever because she's so
It was
tiny
adorable.
and
he's-
Jesse is a
yeah,
giant.
Yeah, it's cute. I'll have to show you after the show, but it's cute. So, but yeah, she was cracking us up because she was on those stairs and she was just a dancing away to the music.
She's just
We're
chilling.
like,
Well, speaking of stubborn, one of the things that people can be stubborn about doing is going to the doctor.
oh yes.
Men are definitely worse
Mm-hmm.
than women, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But now more than ever, as we're in Breast Cancer Awareness Month, this is it's this. We have to talk about it on a regular basis, but these months come along to where we're focusing on certain things. It's also Domestic Violence Awareness Month as well. But we've got to talk kind of jump in on a month like this so we can really, really hone in on reminding people of the importance of self-care and advocating for your own
Right.
health. And
don't ignore.
yeah.
Don't just think it's going to go away.
Yeah. And we talked about it on the bombshell on Monday night too. And we're going to keep talking about it because we have to have these conversations. And a reminder, I'm due for my mammogram, my annual. I got my card in the mail that said, hey, it's time to come squish your boobie. And
Play with the twins.
For women who have not done this yet, I will tell you, it is nothing like it was 15 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. It's not that painful. Except if you have cystic breasts. I have cystic breasts, which means you have those little lumps that are all over. I will tell you the only reason they get super painful is caffeine is a major.
Oh yeah.
It's a major trigger. I don't know if I want to use the word trigger, but too much caffeine then causes your boobs to hurt when you're cystic like that. And so, and they're just lumps. It does make it a little more challenging to check for lumps because you get confused as to what you're looking for. So Dr. McAlpine's been my OBGYN for 25 years since I moved to Texas, except for the 9 years I lived in Lubbock, obviously, and gave birth to my 2 oldest kids over there. And Dr. McAlpine gave birth to, he didn't give birth. He helped me birth Maximus. So, so I would this was, I think, before I actually moved to Lubbock, and I was like, he goes, okay, are you doing your breast exam? And I'm like, kinda. I just, I don't really know what I'm feeling for because I'm already a little lumpy in there. And he whips out the fake boob. It's like a half boob. So it's flat on the bottom and it sticks, and he lays it on top. He goes, okay, so do you feel that? And then you feel that. And honestly, if you're really unsure about what you're feeling for, ask your doctor to whip out the fake boob so he can show you what it feels like and what you're really, really looking for. And it's not embarrassing to ask that as an adult. It's just knowing what you're
Right.
doing. We were reading, we actually went over the 5 steps of self breast exam,
Uh-huh.
and I actually was learning
On the
something from that.
bombshell?
Yeah, on the
Okay.
bombshell. And I was like, "Oh, I didn't I didn't know."
So what was
Well,
new? Because maybe I don't know it
well,
either.
so for men, and
And
this
I
is and I, I said this is Wellness
I'll go
Wednesday, and I
back
put in
and
the comments that we're talking women's health, but breast cancer, men are not immune to this. In fact, it's very
Right.
prevalent in men as well, and so men have different signs than women.
Mhm.
Obviously, you're not gonna exactly you're gonna check the same way, but one of the bigger signs in men is oozing liquid from the nipple,
Oh.
and that is also a sign in women too. I did not know that.
Oh.
I didn't. And because you only ever think about, your milk
I
ducts,
know.
and so I didn't know that. So it's one of those things. Gently squeeze your nipples and see if and this is the same thing
Anything
for
comes
men.
out.
If anything comes out, if you are nowhere near lactating,
Uh-huh.
or you're beyond the 3 to 4 month period of drying up breast milk,
Mhm.
and you have fluid coming out of your nipples,
Could be.
you need to check. It's not even a
That
could be, but it's a
Right, don't freak out.
go get
Because
checked.
it is also common if you're like a motherly instinct, right?
Yeah.
Like
Well,
you
it's that oh God, it used to happen to me so bad. Like I think up to like 6 months
Uh-huh.
after being done breastfeeding, and hearing a baby cry.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
get that. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
so
sensation, but it
don't
eventually,
ignore it. Oop,
yeah,
don't
don't
ig
ignore it, and don't think that it's just that, oh, you
right.
unplugged yourself.
I did with my
So the self breast exam is your number one step. You should be doing it monthly. And you can stand up in the shower and do it. You can lay down on the bed and do it. You can stand in the mirror. But honestly, the 5 steps suggest that you do all of
all those
those.
positions.
Well, somewhat. And you
Well,
you
you
could do this.
probably have a better understanding because
You're going to feel it from a different
yes. Mhm.
position. The shower part, the standing up in the shower doing it,
You have to lift your arm, right?
yeah, and that's the same thing in the mirror too, because
Yeah.
you first want to look at the shape of your breasts and see if they've changed.
Mhm.
Is your nipple pointing? Do you have a nipple pointing in a different direction? Some people are born
No,
that way.
I'm not laughing at that particular thing. It's an inside joke.
Some people don't point the same direction. It's just the way it is sometimes.
Sometimes that's just natural.
And so, but I mean, you want to look at the size of your breasts, and has the shape changed? Has the size changed in
Mhm.
one or the other? Is there discoloration? Do you have any rashes?
Right.
Because rashes on your breast are not always normal. I mean, if you've got one that's not going away,
Mhm.
you need to go get it checked out. But the reason they suggest doing it in the shower is because you're wet and you're even soapy, and it helps you navigate
Oh, okay.
in a more smooth way around. It
Mhm.
helps you just slide around your booby.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So I was like, oh, okay, that kind of makes sense. So
I always do a joke like
you
I
just
just did it again.
Quit unplugging
I
yourself.
know.
Go ahead, talk. I'll plug you in.
Well,
I got you.
I put it in that way. So anyway, when you go for your yearly and they go, you're doing your self exams. I go, well, Jesse is. They all, Dr. Irwin's just looks at me and just smiles because I mean it's funny.
It is funny.
Especially when you're younger, you kind of
Oh,
it was so
younger.
funny. Well, no, the reason why I say that because when you're younger, when you're older, you don't care when you're talking to your doctor, whatever doctor it is. It's just like, yeah, my poop is green or whatever,
Right.
You just talk about it. So when you're younger, you're almost like you're like, I don't want to tell my doctor that. Well, guess what? First of all, you do need to tell your doctor.
You do.
And it was a conversation that Haley and I just had, you know, uh, she went to a doctor's appointment and she was talking to him and then she said, of course, normally she has a female doctor and this doctor was great. He's a new doctor in the family practice.
Of Dr. Irwin's.
Oh, well, no, this one's Dr. Hoffman's office.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to say
This was just we think she might have an ulcer. a stomach ulcer, which
Oh.
we dealt with this back her freshman year and then like lightly during her senior year. It seems to come like every 3 years because here we are again at 3-year mark. So anyway, but she was talking to him about, the poop and the da da da. And then she's like, this is just so weird. And I'm like, but it's something, I mean, I promise you, he's not heard anything weird.
I have truly never really ever had an issue with telling my doctor things like that. No, and maybe that's
But a lot of people are nervous telling their doctor. I'm like, guess
Ah.
what? I promise you,
my mother wasn't.
they've either heard it or seen it, or
Yes.
you're not probably going to surprise them unless they are just a newbie.
Yeah. Yeah. And your OBGYN has seen it during
Oh,
birth.
yes.
Not mine.
Oh, yeah.
Just saying. None of mine. I never pooped during birth.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's
I
what I
actually
meant.
didn't either.
I mean, I know people who have.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
yeah.
I don't think I did.
So
I'm sure my husband would be willing to tattle on me if I did.
oh, sure. Hello. If we had them both in here, they'd like to
they
tell
both are
our
like,
stories.
That's not true.
Yeah. Before I had my whole pre-birth story of Mackenzie because she was 2 months early.
Uh-huh.
And, I voided at home and he loves to tell the whole story. So, and elaborate on it, by the way. Like, I mean, just he takes it from like here to the way next level. Like,
So blown out of proportion. It wasn't
completely.
anywhere like what he says.
Well, I mean, a little bit. I mean, I'll admit a little bit. I know that. That is a conversation, not for right now. But
She called it void.
I did say void.
Mhm.
Well, that's what they say in the doctor's office,
Okay.
or like when you talk to your when you voided yourself.
I know we're kind of
Already?
scrolling here.
We are
but-
scrolling.
Okay, so Haley and I went and saw our nail people yesterday because Haley needed
Without
nails.
me. That's cool.
I'm sorry. You can blame
It's all
Haley.
right. It's all right.
Anyway, I keep thinking Amy's husband's name is Lynn. I don't know why. Anyway, I was talking to her and it was late last night. And so
And Amy is the owner. Amy and her
Amy
husband
is
are
the
the owner
owner
of
of Nail Plus.
Nails Plus right here
Great.
on Renfro. We
Love
love
them.
them. Corner
Love
of the Renfro and
Haley and Amy.
Wilshire.
Haley has Amy's number and will text her when she's in town.
They ask every
Are
time.
you busy? I need new nails.
She's
So
got her number.
She was excited to see us.
She always asks me, "Where's your friend?"
I know.
And I'm like, she's
It's
literally locked
crazy.
in her home working. Like literally.
No, you're forcing me out of my home right
Yeah.
now, coming out. But anyway, I was like, it was getting late, so I was going to have him go ahead and ring us up because I know they were trying to close and stuff. And I was like, Amy, what is your husband's name again? For some reason, I want to call him Lynn. And she's like, no, Pooh. And I go, what? I'm like, how do you spell that? And she's like, PHUO or something like that. And she's like, Pooh, like, fart. So she goes, hey, fart, I'm hungry.
That's what she said.
She did. I loved it. I
Oh
was
my
like,
gosh.
okay,
I've never
I will never now forget his
His-
name.
I'll never forget it now either.
Because and she actually does call him.
I
She'll
have-
go, hey, fart.
I actually have
hungry.
to go in
So there you go.
and
You
I'm
can
gonna
tell fart hi.
I'm just gonna say it to her. I'm like, so where's fart? That's hilarious. I've never
know.
heard. She's never told that.
I
to us
know. I
before.
know. I was like, that's so funny. So I love Amy.
That is-
Anyway.
That's
She's
hilarious.
so cute too. And
know
she's always
what?
got some cute shoes on. I know that's really scrolling off
No,
what we were talking about.
I love it. It doesn't matter because
But
like
it's
John,
self-care.
like John Campbell said, and good morning, John. Good morning,
Good morning,
Christina.
John.
It's like you said, you always have to interject a little humor when you can, and especially at the doctor's office. I mean, don't be
Mhm.
so serious.
Right.
I mean, there's a time when we get to a point to where it is serious, but
Mhm.
if you don't find the high points, even during the midst of a
Yeah.
health storm,
Mhm.
I mean, you get sunk in it.
Right. Mhm.
And honestly, when you get sunk down into it, it's harder to recover
Mhm.
from that health problem
Right.
if you stay in a negative state of mind.
Mhm.
I mean, you've got to find the positive. I mean,
Right.
especially when especially we're talking about breast cancer awareness month. I mean, even with that, I know several women who have had a heck of a freaking time with breast cancer and
Right.
had the most amazing
Mhm.
attitude
Right.
from it.
Yes.
You know, not from it, but in it.
Right.
While they're in the midst of it, they're still smiling and, sharing posts, sharing
Yep.
their triumphs through it, and then sharing their story later on about it. You know what I
Right.
mean? I mean, there's just so much good that can come from the scary stuff.
Right.
Right?
Uh-huh. Yes.
I mean, there's you pray that there's a triumphant story at the end. I mean, we understand that not everybody survives breast
Mhm.
cancer. And, we pray for all of them and all of their families. And because it's happening every day,
Mhm.
people are dying from breast cancer every day. People are dying from all types of illnesses every day.
Right.
But, you got to find a way to, share
Mhm.
the goodness from it and have that right attitude. So,
And a lot of people can learn from each other.
oh yeah,
Especially if someone's already gone through it and has been a survivor for so many years. And then there's someone who's just starting to go through it. You know, they can talk and listen and hear, how they've overcome, making it powerful for them too. Because, the first thing is they feel very unpowerful.
absolutely.
And then there's a time that they think, well, I need to take over control of this, and this is how I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Whatever way it is. So I've never had to go through that, but I have seen friends and family go through it. So
Love it.
I can't talk
Yeah.
personally on it.
I've never, I
So
mean, the first mammogram I had was
I did have a scare. Yeah.
I did too. I was in my 30s, and she
My
thought
first one.
she thought she felt something in my nipple,
Mhm.
and sent me. So
Yeah.
that was the first one I had, and when I was in Lubbock, and nope, nothing.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah, I had a biopsy and everything because it was my first
oh, see,
time.
that was weight. I mean, but
Yeah.
when they went in, they didn't see
Mhm.
anything
Right.
at all.
Oh, yeah. No.
So
no,
it was
we
fine. I mean,
I had
but
a
they didn't mess
biopsy and everything.
around because my
That's when
aunt.
they realized they've got to do the deep 3D
Oh,
on me
so
every
you've got the
time.
dense. You
Oh,
have the
yeah.
dense.
Which
Your
that was
tissue's
the
too
first thing
dense.
my grandmother said when, I had my first one and they called and said, we're going to need you back in. And they did the second one. And then after that, they decided they needed to do a biopsy. And she's like, oh, you probably just got dense.
So
I have it too.
so when you go in and get your mammogram, do they do both then, no matter what?
They go ahead and do the deep visual. I can't remember what it's
The
called.
3D or 4D, but they
Yeah.
only do that one?
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
I think so now. They go straight to that because it was every time I was going, I was having to go back. So they just put it as in my paperwork that I've got to automatically go to.
So your dense
I
tissue
go to step 2 automatically.
your dense tissue measured really you measured on
Mhm.
high on the dense level.
Mhm.
I didn't, and I actually thought that I was
Mhm.
that they were gonna have to do that.
Yeah.
And when I went in for my order, for the first one I did last year since that one, and it wasn't that I was avoiding it; it
Yeah.
was just a time kept forgetting
Oh,
to
yeah.
do it. I mean, literally
We've
had
all had that.
I had the order from Dr. McAlpine, and drove around with it in my
Mhm.
bag for years.
Yeah.
And I was like,
I did that
he goes,
too.
"Have you ever gone and done your breast exam?" I'm like, "No,
Ugh.
I haven't." And he'd write me a new one, and then I would forget again. And I'm like, maybe we need to be checking my brain, because I think that's where the
Check
problem
brain
is.
too.
All right, we'll be back after these messages here on JoCo Vibes here on JoCo Community Radio, just in a few minutes.
Abnormal realities.
All right. So let's see. Oh, this is a cool one. You may affect magnetic phenomena that makes credit cards unreadable after you've been carrying them. Do you have a problem with your credit cards?
I do not.
He is not a slider.
I'm not a slider.
All right. And number everything that's no more numbers.
What are you doing?
I'm just thinking about how much of a train wreck we are.
Give me a hug.
No, I'm not hugging you. God, how long is this show going to go? Can't believe you got to the end of the story and you went, humana. There are no more numbers. What?
I thought there's another one. I tried playing it out. It just rolled over on me.
Abnormal realities
Every time I look at the clock, the break gets further away. I don't understand.
with Ron and Rocky. Weekdays, 4 p.m. and 10 p.m. on JoCo Community Radio.
Out of deck carpet giving you the blues? Tired of your old dingy and broken tile? Let my friends at the Floor Store in Cleveland, Texas give your home the makeover it deserves. This is Old Taco Joe coming to you for the Floor Store. Whether it's carpet, tile, wood flooring, or real wood laminate, the Floor Store can cover all of your flooring needs. Located at 405 West Henderson Street in Cleveland, Texas, owner Brent Harris can help. Shower tile, tub surrounds, even backsplashes. Give them a call today at 817-641-9444. The Floor Store, they got you covered. When you're hungry for tender brisket or some delicious homemade cobbler, then look no further than Leach Brothers Barbecue, located at 1106 East Henderson in Cleveland, Texas. Leach Brothers has been family-owned and operated since 1950. Take it from me, Taco Joe Orwinski. Todd and his family have been filling my belly breakfast, lunch, and dinner for a long time. Heck, I even have my own booth, open Monday through Saturday, 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. Come see them for dine-in, carry-out, and all your catering needs.
The voice of Johnson County, JoCo Community Radio.
Texas pride, Texas grown, from the dirt to our home, no matter the weather, we do it together.
I love this song, but I think it's time to update it for JoCo vibes.
Oh, probably.
We're back.
I do love that song too.
Tiffany and Nona here on JoCo Vibes, here on JoCo Community Radio. Welcome back to the second half of the show. We are the voice of Johnson County, Texas. That would be JoCo Community Radio, not we, as in just me and Nona, but the radio station is the voice of Johnson County, Texas. We are live 365 on the TuneIn Radio Network. To listen, simply go to tuneinjoco.com, where you can download the free app or listen live right there. We are also streaming simultaneously on Spreaker.com with select shows like this one, streaming to Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and in beta for LinkedIn. Waiting for approval on that. It takes a little bit of time. So super excited about that because that's streaming video. On Spreaker, we are live, just like we are on the TuneIn Radio Network. And then we shoot out to 13 different podcast platforms. So you can find us on any one of your favorites, including Spotify and iTunes. Check out our lineup and more on JoCoCommunityRadio.com. And thanks for tuning in this episode and more, brought to you by Next Level Claims, making your insurance work for you. If you've got hail damage, storm damage, you've got to have someone who will help advocate with your own insurance company. That's right, because 10 times out of 10, they don't want to pay you the full amount of your claim. So you've got to have someone ready to fight for you. Reach out to Next Level Claims at facebook.com/Next Level Claims and get them in your corner before the next storm hits. And I mean, I think thousands of people are in the midst of this, situation right now since the hurricane. And so if you're not getting what you deserve for that damage, please find someone.
Right.
I personally know Next Level Claims. They do a great job. They really do help you advocate to make sure that you get your repairs done to your roof, and so you can get them or you can find somebody else, whatever you want to do. So welcome back. We're talking wellness and boobies and poop and all kinds of crazy stuff here on Wellness Wednesday, but it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. It is also Domestic Violence Awareness Month. It's also Dyslexia Awareness Month. And you were a dyslexia teacher.
And I have dyslexic children.
Yes. So. And Tanya, one of our show hosts, is dyslexic. So, and you know what? You wouldn't know this about people unless, but
they're usually very bright outside thinkers, and it's just,
It's just you see the world a little bit different
Mhm.
on paper or
Right.
reading
And,
and
that's where it really seen more is in the reading aspect of it. And once, we called it, reprogramming the brain so that misfire that's not happening when they're doing the reading. It's just a program that we do over and over again that, teaches them how to pronounce that word and all that. And man, kids that have I had a kid that couldn't read at all. He was a genius. He was doing multiplication in first grade. But I remember the first time he read, it was in fourth grade, and he read a sentence and then he wouldn't quit reading. And we were doing like a popcorn in our little group. And the other two just looked at me like, he's taking all the reading. And I was like, tears were coming out of my eyes because he had really struggled because he was this bright kid. He was in GT. I mean, when I tested him, I looked at my GT teacher and I was like, he's coming to you too.
yeah.
I mean, he is such a bright kid and he's the same age as my son right now, and I keep up with him and still know how he's doing and everything. But
And how
he
amazing
just
because a lot of kids who don't get
Mhm.
diagnosed early enough, which is very
Mhm.
common,
Right.
with dyslexia, get actually put into the classes like special
Right.
education or
Mhm.
the lower classes or held back rather than digging in to
Right.
figure out, okay, what are we missing here? What are we
Exactly.
missing here with this kid? And look at this kid, like you
Right.
said,
Well, and
he was
he
actually
had
in
been.
GT.
He had actually been put in special ed.
Tell
He had
people
also
what
been held back. And it wasn't till after all they tried all that and they're like, So, they presented him to me and it was like a classic case. I was like, man, I wished this would have been the first thing they looked at
right.
than all the other things. And special ed, it now dyslexia even in Texas now falls under that special ed umbrella, and it used to not. But a lot of people don't understand the concept of special ed. It is literally for the high gifted kids to the low kids. And it's a broad spectrum. It's they have this special situation. It could be, I mean, I have a friend that has a kid that um has Down syndrome, and he's such a bright young kid.
People don't understand what
They
Down syndrome
don't.
is.
They don't. And he was so
It's
he's
not
still bright.
it's not a
He's
lack
such
of
a bright
it's not
kid.
a lack of
No.
intelligence at all.
No.
It has nothing to do with it.
Yes. And it's just they learn different. And we have to figure out how they can learn. If it comes with dyslexia, if it comes with autism, if it comes with Down syndrome, we just have to learn how they are going to learn.
Absolutely.
And then sometimes they just blossom so much. And I just remember when he wouldn't quit reading and he was reading smoothly. It was we were used to him being choppy. And then it was just like one day, and it started when we started doing also the Audible books. So at that time, I got him all signed up for Audible books too. So he was listening and following along as he was listening. So he was seeing those words and hearing the words, which is a huge thing with dyslexic students too. So, because they may know what like photosynthesis is,
Right.
but then they see the word and they're like, what is that word? But then as soon as you tell them the word, they're all, oh, okay. Yeah, that's
Now
what
I
this
get
is.
it.
So, yeah, I mean, it was just, I remember calling his mom and I was just in tears. Like, I was just so proud of him. It was a big moment.
So if you're a parent with young
So
children and you see that your child is struggling in school, don't rule this out. This is something that it's
Right.
better caught earlier
Mhm.
than later.
Right.
Dyslexia, and you will change your child's
100%.
life
Mhm.
to get them checked for it. And so
Mhm.
and be their advocate, be strong with the school
Right.
district, whatever school district you're in, and demand it.
Right.
Demand that testing and demand it early.
I know Burleson, and I'm just speaking of Burleson because that's where I taught for 20 years or 16. Burleson had an awesome dyslexia team. And their program is awesome. And we had parents that would literally move into Burleson because their child was diagnosed with dyslexia just to be in our program. So, I mean, it happened all the time. I've had people that since I've left education call me up and go, okay, I think my child may, just a friend or whatever. And they're like, can you help me kind of go through things and look at stuff? And so I'd help them. And then, or if they were having issues with, whatever of maybe the teacher wasn't agreeing or whatever, we would walk through and talk about stuff. And maybe I would help them see the light that, yeah, your teacher's kind of in the right direction, or no, I think your teacher's missing something. Let's go this direction. So I've actually, since I've left, had 3 or 4 of my friends have their kid has been diagnosed, and I've helped them get diagnosed because they were kind of struggling with
Well, you were a
getting
big
that. And not just in Burleson, by the way. I don't want I mean, I know one was in Joshua, and I mean, it just happens because, dyslexia does not look the same for every student. So every child. So it does sometimes. I had a senior that I taught in 7th grade that my first year as a dyslexia teacher, she qualified for dyslexia. I cried too because I felt like I had done injustice to her in not catching it. Now, she was a 7th grader. Most of us don't in middle school, don't catch that kind of stuff. And the only reason I guess they had, the parents kind of thought maybe that was the case, and she was about to go to college, and so they asked us to test her, and yeah, she qualified, and that way she got those accommodations through college too. And that's what my daughter does. I mean, she's been diagnosed as dyslexic. She's gone through the program. She's done a great job, but she also takes advantage of what helps her come up to the same playing field as every other
Right.
student, So it's important. So
Well, I love it. I love that you have such a passion for it because I know you were a huge advocate
yes,
for it.
I
I mean,
am
really.
still, I miss working with those dyslexic students. I really do.
Well, thank you for that. So
Okay.
again, if you have young children, the time is now. And if you have even
Mhm.
if you have older children and you're still you haven't yet figured out
Mhm.
what is missing.
Right.
It could be this. There
Mhm.
are adults who still have not addressed their dyslexia because of
Right.
shame.
Right.
It's nothing to be ashamed
Right.
of.
Oh, no.
It's so treatable, fixable,
Mhm.
and to help you figure out, everybody should be able to read.
Right.
And so you can
Yes.
there's always time to do that. So just want to touch on again, it's Domestic Violence Awareness
Mhm.
Month. We're going to have Lisa Schwartz with Lisa Schwartz LLC and Crazy 8 Ministries join us next
Mhm.
Thursday to have an in-depth conversation about this. If you also watch the replay or listen to the replay out on Spotify or iTunes of the Her Show, which is from 2 to 4 Central Time on Mondays, with Trina Titus Lozano. She had an amazing guest on,
Wonderful.
who's an anonymous guest,
Mhm.
because she's still in the midst of the legal proceedings
Mhm.
for her domestic violence situation. So, but she had her. If you're going to watch, her back is to the camera, obviously, and if you're going to listen, I mean that's the most important, anyways, to listen to the
Right.
message and what they're talking about. So, highly suggest you go back and watch and listen to that show, and get the takeaways that you need from there. And a lot of the important part of that too is recognizing, or at least trying to recognize as a friend, what may be going on in someone else's life. I
Right.
had a friend who was going through it and had no clue,
Clue.
because most victims will keep that, they hide it out of
Mhm.
shame, out of their own shame and guilt, because that's what happens when you're in
Mhm.
that situation, and also shame and guilt for their spouse or significant other who is abusing them because they love them.
Right.
And there's a lot there. So there's a lot of places that you can dive in deep all of that. I got to tell you one thing too that I learned recently from a couple of people. And this is completely off topic from those two things, but since we're talking wellness, I do want to talk about it. If you are struggling with substance abuse, alcohol abuse, sex addiction, any type of addiction like that, there is an app that you can get on your phone for free called Sober Buddy.
Oh, cool.
And it's free. So everybody who's in this app is going through the same thing, and they're helping each other. They're accountability partners, without knowing each other. You can be anonymous. But I just thought that I was, scrolling through it with someone, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is a really powerful app, and it's free.
Right.
It's free. So I added that sex addiction part in there because what I've learned recently from being in Nar-Anon groups and Al-Anon groups, that some addicts, let's say they'll graduate from, they can, and many do graduate from one addiction to the next.
Right.
So they'll give up alcohol and then turn to another, turn to pills, or turn to another form, and then they'll give all that up, and then their next addiction is they move on to sex addiction. And so some will, not all, but some will replace. And this is coming out of the mouth of an addict, a male addict that I know, that was telling me this, and he wasn't talking about himself. He was talking about somebody else, and porn addiction, another real, type of thing, addiction. Addicts are addicts, and will usually replace one addiction with another. And so whatever you can do to find, any type of tool that can help you get through it. And, one of those things, to have something in the palm of your hand that you can, reach out to someone immediately who's going through what you're going through is really powerful. So again, Sober Buddy is the name of the app that you can download on your phone.
Cool.
And again, Lisa Schwartz will be joining us next Thursday to talk about domestic violence. So again, I know I'm like kind of swapping back and forth here.
Well, we're talking about all different kinds
Yeah.
of things well, first of all, that's Awareness Month. It falls into this month anyway.
Yeah.
It just happens to be different things.
So we're going to talk about some other cool things tomorrow too, diversity, and we're going to get an update as to what's going on in DC from our very own Murphy Jones.
So excited.
Will be joining us.
Haven't talked to him in a while.
I know. I'm super happy. We were texting quite a bit, so he's gonna join us via video tomorrow.
Wait to hear his Washington adventures.
I know. I'm so proud of him. So he's doing quite a bit. October 19th, which was yesterday, and since we were not on air, we were not live. Yesterday was LGBT Center Awareness Day.
Okay.
So, and a whole bunch of other things, but
what does that entail? Center.
Oh boy, you're gonna make me.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I have to click on it.
Is it?
It's all about.
Is it a place for them to go?
Yeah, it's safe spaces. So it's all about. It's observed on October 19th of every year to celebrate the assistance and facilities provided by LGBTQ community centers throughout the country. The Awareness Day, inaugurated by CenterLink in 1994, is an initiative to support the development of queer-friendly community centers. The centers are essential to the LGBTQ community because they provide freely accessible community services to members. And so on and so forth. So that was yesterday. So thank you to all those safe spaces across the country and across the world that are there to help the LGBTQ community. And these are, again, just learning these things. These are important. This is very, very important to have a safe space for someone. Whether it's domestic violence, LGBTQ challenges, and initiatives. There's so much there for that, especially when it comes to teens and kids who a lot of times won't turn to their parents.
Right.
They need somewhere to go, and so you can look for that. You can look for that and find a support system. And so that's really good. And there's tons of support groups and support systems on social media too.
Mhm.
So I always say to look into that. That's kind of where I am with the Narnon type of groups. I'm in
Mhm.
several of those and learning daily from other families going through what we're going through right
Mhm.
now. So anyway, it is October 20th. And today
Can't
has
believe we're almost all the way through October.
I know. And we
Oh
didn't
my
get to go to Mexico.
gosh.
It's
I
still upsetting.
know. I know. Every time I do get on Facebook, I'm just like, come on.
Well,
'Cause,
today has
Christy will post something or Helen, and I'm like,
today has some very interesting national like holiday type
oh,
of
okay.
things. So I'm just gonna tell you about a few of them.
Okay.
First of all, it's National Brandied Fruit Day.
Brandy?
Brandied. So candy that's in fruit. Isn't that where they
Oh,
make them kind of
okay.
dessert fruit and liqueur? They put it all together.
yeah.
You can apply for any day, by the way. And that was actually something. This was new. This was new that popped up when I came to this website that I use often. But it popped up that you can apply for a national
Yes.
day. So
I know
that's
you
why
can.
there's so many things that are.
Yeah.
Some of them are a
They're
little bit silly.
fun. They're
Yeah.
silly, fun. Hey, it's part of life. Enjoy it.
Health wise, though, it is World Osteoporosis Day.
Okay.
And so, again, this comes down to taking care of yourself and being an advocate for your own health.
Right.
Celebrate good health and educate yourself and others about the value of taking care of your body and protecting your bones and muscles from disabling and life-threatening fractures. And this is prevalent as we get older. You got to know
Right.
what your hormone levels are, are you getting enough vitamin D? Are you getting enough of the things that, keep your body strong and healthy? So, yeah, so it's actual it's an appreciation day. It's National Medical Assistance Day. So thank you
Oh.
to all of, I mean, just really thank you all to everyone in the
Yes.
medical
Every
industry
every
for
day, but-
working so hard to keep people alive and healthy every single day. It-
And fighting your fight too.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
unfortunately,
I got a couple of
they're
favorites.
fighting
I
too.
got I have a few favorites on here though. It's International Sloth Day.
So we're supposed to go slow
We
all
should
day?
be moving very, very slowly today.
That's my excuse.
Hang out, because sloths like to hang,
Yeah.
Upside down. Hang out and celebrate, not upside down, but they'll just, it's really,
Yeah.
they're amazing animals.
Yeah, they are.
They really, really are. Sloths are slow-moving mammals, often found in Central and South America. The two major types are two-toed and three-toed. Did not know that there was two different types.
I
Just
know.
saying, you learn something new every day. Although sloths look like some kind of furry bear monkey, their closest relatives are anteaters and armadillos. I did kind of know that.
I did know that.
People become kind of obsessed with sloths.
Mhm.
I do think that that is an animal I would love to hold and snuggle with because they're just I don't know, they just seem so peaceful. Maybe it's the slow motion.
Yeah.
But
they're like no care in the world.
Yeah, they're like chill,
like
man.
A turtle slow.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's Hagfish Day. In case you didn't know.
Hagfish?
Yeah. It's observed
that
on the third Wednesday in
type of
October.
fish?
It is a day to celebrate the existence and I'm going to tell you, hang on. The existence and importance of the hagfish, the squiggly, slimy fish
Ooh, it is a
species.
fish. Okay.
Yes. But they put it under the animal category for some reason. Although it is often considered the ugliest fish species, it plays a vital role in the overall ecosystem and equilibrium within marine life. Okay.
I'm gonna go.
Okay, I'm gonna go
Google a hagfish right now because I want to
so you can see what it looks like.
like.
So I'm gonna also put what's the other tilapias in the ugliest fish zone too, and lots of people like to eat tilapia. Is it nasty?
Oh yeah.
If I'd planned it faster, I would have put it up on the screen.
Gross. It looks like your intestines.
Oh, I don't think I want to see it. Then you might as well show me now so I can look at it. Oh, yeah, it's like a.
It-
It's more
It
like
kinda
a.
like a worm.
It's like a worm.
But then look like I haven't clicked on that. It
Oh.
looks like, is that their mouth? It looks like a butthole.
Oh yeah, okay, I've seen these before. That's gross. That is serious. It does look like a butthole. I'm sorry.
It looks like an intestine.
Also, maybe why it has.
Maybe why it's so ugly.
It's on the ugliest fish list ever because it has its mouth looks like a
Doesn't even
butthole.
look like a fish. It looks like a snaily without the shell worm. I'm not really sure.
It's
Yeah,
gross.
yeah.
It's gross looking.
Yeah, it is.
I don't
I
can't.
can understand why it's ugly. It's the most ugly fish.
The fact that it's even called a fish is insulting to fish.
I agree.
I'd definitely put it more in the worm.
I'm almost kind of wish I hadn't looked
Looked
at
at
now.
I'm curious. I feel like some people eat it. Okay, hang on. I got to put my readers back on and see. Okay, all right. We cannot deny the obvious. Hagfish bring with them a whole other level of slime and ick. There's no doubt. With no jaw, no bones, and no scales, this fish species is not the easiest on the eyes. To make matters worse, they have equally unsettling eating habits. Hagfish feast on dead or dying bodies of marine animals. They do so by sliding into the said body and eating it away from the inside out.
So sorry, people.
I hope you're not eating breakfast right now because that. If you Googled it and then listened to that description, you would completely understand why its mouth looks like a butthole.
Yeah, exactly.
So gross.
That is.
That's disgusting.
Oh my gosh.
It also essential to maintain a balanced ecosystem, whether it outwardly obvious or not. Each organism nature has a role to play. Well, we know that, right? I mean, we're
Right.
all part of the ecosystem. Even human beings are.
Right.
All creatures, no matter how big or small, are important. Blah blah. I'm trying to see where it says, "Do people eat this?" Maybe we just need to Google that. So
I don't know if I want to know now.
I have to know if people eat this. I really, really, really do. By the way, if you are looking for more information on breast cancer and you have questions, please go to. I know I'm squirreling away from the butthole fish, because we're running out of time. But please go to breastcancer.org.
Yes.
And if you click on symptoms, if you click on symptoms, it'll take you to the breast self-exam, 5 steps. And it really is important to do this. Very,
Right.
very important to do this. And if you haven't gotten your mammogram yet, please do. I'm sure a hagfish doesn't need one for themselves, but you do. So breastcancer.org is where you can find information on that. And if you don't have insurance, there are many places you can go
Right.
to get a free get a free mammogram
Mhm. Yes.
and a free women's well check too.
Right.
So all important things. So we'll see.
Very important.
Have an amazing Wednesday. Go out and be kind. Anywhere you go, everybody's got a story and something going on in the background.
That's
So
100% the truth.
share a smile, and we'll see you back here tomorrow morning with Murphy Jones from DC. Bye.
Bye.
Dancing to a Texas song.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Greg Clugston in Washington. 17 people connected with a U.S.-based missionary group remain kidnapped